What if the greatest empire the world had ever seen was built not by conquest alone, but by tolerance, genius, and vision? What did Iran look like 2,500 years ago when a single man named Cyrus rose from a small kingdom and created the Achaemenid Empire, the first true superpower in history? I promise you this, by the end of this video, you will witness the dramatic birth of the Persian Empire in breathtaking cinematic detail. Cities rising from the dust, armies that conquered 3 continents, and a revolutionary idea that still shapes our world today. Stay with me, because you're about to see ancient Iran as no one alive has ever seen it. Today, when we think of ancient Iran, most people picture ruins in the desert or beautiful blue-tiled mosques from much later periods. But 2,500 years ago, Iran was the center of something far greater, the birthplace of the largest empire humanity had known until that point. In just a few decades, the Achaemenid Persians went from a collection of nomadic tribes in the mountains of southern Iran to rulers of territories stretching from the Indus River in India to the Danube in Europe, from the deserts of Egypt to the mountains of Central Asia. How was this possible? For centuries, historians could only read about it in Greek sources or fragmented Persian inscriptions, until now. Using the latest archaeological evidence, ancient texts like the Cyrus cylinder, and cutting-edge AI reconstruction, we are about to bring the dramatic rise of the Achaemenid Empire back to life, exactly as it unfolded 2,500 years ago. Let's travel back to the year 559 BC in the rugged highlands of Parsa, what we now call Fars province in southern Iran. You are standing in a small kingdom of Anshan. The air is crisp with mountain pine and dust. A young prince named Cyrus, son of Cambyses I, has just become king of a relatively minor Iranian tribe called the Persians. At this moment, no one could possibly imagine that this man would change the course of human history. The land around you is harsh and beautiful, snow-capped mountains in the distance, fertile valleys below. Small mud brick villages dot the landscape. This is not yet an empire. This is the humble beginning. But Cyrus has a vision. He unites the Persian tribes and then turns his attention to the powerful Median Empire to the north. In 550 BC, in a surprising turn of events, Cyrus defeats his own grandfather, King Astyages of the Medes, and absorbs the Median kingdom without destroying it. Instead of slaughtering the defeated, Cyrus shows mercy, a radical new policy that will define the empire. Here's something most people don't know. The Persians were among the first in history to practice a form of religious and cultural tolerance. Cyrus allowed conquered peoples to keep their customs, languages, and religions. This was revolutionary, and it helped the empire grow faster than any before it. Now the momentum is unstoppable. In 547 BC, Cyrus turns west and defeats the wealthy kingdom of Lydia and its famous king, Croesus. The riches of Lydia's gold mines flow into Persia. Then, in 539 BC, comes the greatest prize, the conquest of Babylon. The Babylonian Empire is one of the most powerful in the world. Its walls are considered impregnable, yet Cyrus enters the city almost without a fight. According to ancient accounts, the gates were opened from within. Instead of destruction, Cyrus issues one of the most famous proclamations in history, the Cyrus cylinder, often called the world's first charter of human rights. He frees the Jewish captives who had been exiled in Babylon and allows them to return to Jerusalem and rebuild their temple. This single act wins him loyalty across the empire. By the time of his death in 530 BC, while campaigning in Central Asia, Cyrus the Great has created an empire that spans 3 continents. But the story is only beginning. His son, Cambyses II, continues expansion by conquering Egypt in 525 BC. Then comes Darius I, the great organizer. In 522 BC, Darius seizes power and begins transforming this vast territory into a true superpower. He divides the empire into 20 satrapies, or provinces, each governed by a satrap loyal to the king. He creates the Royal Road, a 2,700-kilometer highway system with relay stations where royal messengers can travel the entire length in just 7 days. He standardizes weights, measures, and introduces the gold Daric coin, one of the first widely used currencies in history. Imagine standing on the Royal Road as a royal courier gallops past on a fresh horse, carrying messages from Susa to Sardis at incredible speed. This level of administration was unheard of in the ancient world. Under Darius, the empire reaches its greatest territorial extent. And then comes the crown jewel, Persepolis. In 518 BC, Darius begins construction of a spectacular new ceremonial capital on a vast terrace in the heart of Persia. Unlike the earlier capitals at Pasargadae and Susa, Persepolis is designed from the ground up as a statement of imperial power and unity. Hundreds of workers from every corner of the empire, Egyptians, Babylonians, Greeks, Indians, Scythians, labor under Persian architects. The Apadana Audience Hall rises with its 72 towering columns. Staircases are carved with breathtaking reliefs showing tribute bearers from 23 nations bringing gifts to the king. This is not just a palace. This is a visual declaration that all nations are united under one just ruler, the King of Kings. Meanwhile, the empire builds grand palaces at Susa and Ecbatana. The Royal Road connects everything. Trade flourishes. The empire collects tribute in silver, gold, horses, and grain, but also invests heavily in infrastructure, canals, bridges, and qanats, or underground water systems that still function in Iran today. Yet, for all its tolerance and administrative brilliance, the Achaemenid Empire was also built on military might. How did a relatively small Iranian people manage to control such an enormous and diverse territory for over 200 years? And what were the limits of this golden vision? We'll return to that question near the end. You stand on a high ridge and watch the Persian army march. Immortal soldiers, the elite 10,000-strong unit whose numbers never seemed to drop, march in perfect formation with spears, bows, and colorful uniforms. Behind them come cavalry from the Iranian plains, war chariots, and contingents from every subject nation. This army is not just for conquest, it is the glue that holds the empire together. Darius even attempts to conquer Greece, but is defeated at Marathon in 490 BC. His son, Xerxes I, tries again with an even larger force, only to face the famous stand at Thermopylae and eventual defeat at Salamis and Plataea. These Greek wars would later be immortalized by Greek historians, who often portrayed the Persians as decadent tyrants. But the Persian side tells a different story, one of a sophisticated, multicultural empire that respected local traditions far more than most conquerors. As night falls over Persepolis, thousands of torches and oil lamps light the great halls. The King of Kings holds audience. Delegates from across the empire present gifts and petitions. This is the height of Persian power, a time when Iran stood at the center of the known world. So what have we truly discovered by walking through Iran 2,500 years ago during the rise of the Achaemenid Empire? We've seen how a visionary leader named Cyrus the Great built an empire not only through military skill, but by a revolutionary policy of tolerance and respect for diversity. We've witnessed the birth of advanced administration, the satrapy system, the royal road, standardized coinage, and infrastructure that connected a continent-spanning realm. We've stood on the terraces of Persepolis as it rose from the plain, a monument to unity in diversity that had never been attempted before on this scale. The open loop remains. How did such a relatively small people control such a vast empire for so long? The answer lies in that unique Persian genius, combining military strength with cultural flexibility, centralized administration with local autonomy, and raw ambition with a sense of divine justice, the idea of arta, truth and order. For one extraordinary period, roughly 2,500 years ago, ancient Iran gave the world something new. The idea that a single empire could embrace many peoples, many languages, and many gods and still stand strong. That idea influenced Alexander the Great, the Roman Empire, the Islamic caliphates, and even modern concepts of multicultural governance. Next time you look at the silent ruins of Persepolis or Pasargadae baking under the Iranian sun, remember this: they were not always quiet stones.